Welcome to the inaugural episode of Sonics Forever Live. My name is Brad Burns. This is a show by the fans, for the fans. You cut me open, you cut everybody that's in the audience open. We bleed green and gold. And we are honored to have two of the best to ever wear the green and gold with us today. Dale Ellis and Xavier McDaniel. Welcome to Sonics Forever Live. How's it feel to be back in Seattle?
Oh, it's great. The weather reminded me of a lot of good days, a lot of rainy days.
A lot of gray days.
Yeah. As soon as I got off that plane with them shorts on, I was like, oh, you forgot where you were going. Yeah.
What's the reception like when you guys are walking around town? Do people recognize you? Talk about stories when you're with Sonics?
I know for me, normally in the airport, they see me, but with the mask on, I had a lot of people just looking, but they wasn't sure. Right. So, but normally without that mask, a lot of people, oh, Xavier, nice to see you. But this particular time, I was able to come on in with my mask looking like Batman.
Yeah.
So
incognito.
Yes.
Incognito, definitely. Mm-hmm. I know you said at one point that the X-Man was almost like a superhero, a character. So it's true to life at this point when you got the mask on.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost make me feel, old superhero now.
Superheroes never die.
Ain't moving as fast as I used to. Everybody talking about, earlier we were doing the autograph signing, we were talking about the pictures and how cool they are, and I made a comment, oh, where the body went. So, but that's what happens when you get older, though. But I mean, I'm taking nothing back for what I did those 12 years.
Well, we have a ton to cover, and hopefully we can fit it all in this time frame. Let's start in 1987. The 87 team surprised everybody. This is the last team to finish below 500 to win a playoff series. Not only did you win one playoff series, you won two playoff series.
Right.
Finished the season 39-43. Played Dallas in the first round. Dallas was the 2 seed. Sonics were the 7 seed.
Right.
Dallas had their best record up to that point in team history. Most wins in team history. And they had beaten Sonics 5 times that year. 5-0 against the Sonics. They just drill you in the first game. And it's like, okay.
Every game.
Yeah, great to have you guys here. This is cute. We'll see you later. It seemed like that's all it would be. And then you guys run off 3 straight wins, beat Dallas, your old team. Mm-hmm. At what point did you guys start to believe in yourselves and determine that, hey, we can not only compete with these guys, we can beat these guys?
Right. Well, the expectations were low. Before the season started, we were picked to finish last. Right out back, picked us to finish last, and we just squeaked into the playoffs. So there was no real expectation. We were just gelling as a team. They did run through us 5 consecutive times during the regular season, and got us in the first game of the playoffs. But we took a look at some film, and it was just about getting the ball across court and then getting into our offense. We were rushing to get into our offense. So we were able to handle that by setting a hard pick on Derek Harper. so we remedied that situation. Nate was able to get the ball down the court. We get into our offense on time. And it's just a matter of winning one game. You can take off from there. You build your confidence.
And that Dallas team was loaded too. People forget how good that team was.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to be on the other? These were guys you were in Dallas for 3 years.
3 years.
Guys that you came up with: Derek Harper, Sam Perkins, one of our Sonic favorites. Detlef was on the team. Mm-hmm. Roy Tarpley, really loaded team.
Choir.
Yeah,
Rolando Blackman.
Yep, exactly. For you, how did that feel to be on? These guys are doing great. I'm here. How were you able to step your game up?
A lot of fans think I started in Seattle. My career started here, but it was the first 3 years it was in Seattle. in Dallas. I played, but I didn't get the time that I wanted on the floor. Requested a trade, ended up in Seattle, and it couldn't have been a better situation for me. Bernie did an excellent job of recognizing talent and putting the ball where it needed to be. Gave me the green light to go ahead and shoot the ball. But in the playoffs, playing against those guys, it was just like practice. But the 3 years I was there, practice time was play time for me. So I worked hard in practice every day, waiting for that opportunity to play. And so it was exciting to play against Dallas. they were playing great basketball. I believe they had won more games that year than anybody in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And picked to get to the Western Conference Finals easily. But yeah, we put it on them.
Yeah, that's plans.
Mm-hmm.
So after Dallas, you move on to Houston, who they were the defending Western Conference champions. They lost to one of the best teams in NBA history, the 86 Celtics, in the finals, going up against Young and Keem and Ralph Sampson, who still had a little bit left in the tank at that point. And again, heavy underdogs, and you guys came in and did what you had to do. Once you get past Houston, you move on to the Lakers. Lakers sweep you, but in that Houston series specifically, I went back and watched Game 6, thanks to the power of YouTube. Watched the entire game. It seems like people forget how good the two of you were. They think of you, Dale, as a three-point specialist, and X, you're the enforcer. And that's not really accurate, because you guys had really great all-around games. You were crashing the offensive boards. I mean, from mid-range, outside, I mean, there wasn't anything you couldn't do offensively. And we were talking about this earlier. Your game offensively was so well-rounded to be able to crash the boards and bring the energy that you did. It's almost a disservice to think of, Dale's a three-point shooter and X is going to choke out Wes Matthews. What was it like going up against Houston in that Game 6? It was a double overtime game. It's an awesome game. If anybody has, I think it's 2 hours, almost 3 hours without commercials. It's a longer game, but well worth watching because it's a great watch.
I personally think that people don't know how good Tom Chambers was. And the NBA is all about matchups. That matchup, believe it or not, favored us. See, people say Kareem, Ralph Sampson, but nobody's looking at Tom Chambers and nobody's looking at Dale Ellis. Mm-hmm. They were the bigger scorers in that series for us. And even in the regular season, Tom Chambers on Ralph Sampson. I was like, when I throw it, you got to go get it because I don't want to be here and burn him out. Tom would just catch it and he would dunk it backwards. I mean, Dale coming off screens, guys on him. You got Lewis Lord, with Robert Reed, because Lewis Lord and Mitchell Wiggins got suspended. You had Rodney McCray guarding between me and Dale. But Dale and Tom had their numbers. You go back and you look at I think we played them 5 times that year. Dale and Tom had some incredible numbers against them. I felt like the numbers came to us, and we've always played them well. So when we got down there, we won Game 1. So hell, why not win Game 2? And we wound up winning Game 2, and on the strength of Dale and Tom. And we came here. I think we lost Game 3, and then we played Game 4 and won, and lost Game 5 and came with an epic Game 6 with double overtime. Akeem Olajuwon had a monster game.
Mm-hmm. No answer for Akeem. You talk about the mismatch for Chambers, which is absolutely
I'm talking
correct.
about something like 52
I think
points.
He had 49 and
49,
23.
whatever.
At that point, Akeem, who push comes to shove, I think he might be one of the 10 best of all time. Just such a talent. And nobody had been playing basketball for like 5 years at that point.
And then as Sonic fan, we're about to call a timeout. Nate and Tom Chambers rushing up court. And he had this incredible dunk against Robert Reed for a three-point, and I think that kind of helped us out a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that was a great, great series. It was a tiring. I've probably never been that tired in a game where double overtime. Well, obviously I'm going home and go to sleep. That was a physical game, and I know I got some bumps and bruises right now going on from that game. That was a hell of a game.
How much did that Game 6 and everything that you put into that affect the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers?
I think it affected a lot. I thought we had a great chance to beat the Lakers, and I think that's what we talked about in these games. Mm-hmm. Game 1, keeping the game close. Don't let Magic do all the Houdini passes, don't have James Worthy doing all the dunking, and get the Laker crowd into it. And I think for the first 2 games, we kind of did that. But when you have a Magic Johnson who can put his head down, and then beep, beep, they're shooting free throws while we're trying to make jump shots or post moves. And I think that was a big key into that. First 3 games, I won't say, I don't think it was no more than 12 or 14 points that separated us. It might have been less than that. And then we got our butts whipped in game 4 because I think everybody kind of hard to come back from a 3-0 deficit against. I mean, they got what? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hall of Famer, Worthy Hall of Famer, Magic Johnson Hall of Famer.
Easily 2 of the 10 best.
And right now we playing. Nobody's in the Hall of Fame. Myself, Dale, or Tom. So I mean, they were favorites, but I mean it was a good series. I just wish that a few things that we could take back. I mean, TV is a lot better now than it was 30 years ago, because if you make a bad call today, they got a camera that's going to pick it up. Back then, you didn't have those cameras like you got. I mean, you got cameras everywhere. So, but I know in that game, I don't know if Dale remember, we were doing well. It looked like the game's going down the wire. Alton Lister blocked Magic shot, and they called 2 free throws on it. That was a big, and we come down and miss a shot. They come down and get a free throw shot, and they wound up winning the game by like 2 or 3 points. So I think in today's game, we had a better shot than the old game because, the Lakers were the premier team.
Yeah, they were. They went on to win the title that year.
Yeah.
Going into that offseason, hopes were high because you guys got farther than anybody expected, and you had 2 high draft picks. You had the number 5 pick and the number 10 pick. Ended up with Oladipo and Derek McKee. There's an alternate universe where it could have been Scottie Pippen and maybe Horace Grant, but that's how things break sometimes.
But I mean, think about it. You got Dale Ellis and you got me.
Yep.
You don't know what Scottie's going to do. And I was looking forward to playing with him because it was a lot of talk about him being a point forward. But we also got Nate McMillan. So, I tell people all the time, where was he going to play?
Yeah.
It would have been very tough for him. I think that we let Alton Lister, we let Maurice Lucas go. Clement Johnson wasn't really playing a lot, and we needed to get bigger up front. So that's why I think we went for Derek McKee, who was a great athlete, and we went for Olin for bulk at that center position. I think they were 2 good picks for us. But I mean, when you're playing with Michael Jordan, how can you not excel? I mean, Scottie put in the work, obviously, with that, but I mean, you don't know how something's going to happen. It worked out well for Chicago, and I thought Derek was a great backup to Tom and myself. And then when they let Tom go, I thought it was one of the worst things you could ever do. You never let an all-star go for nothing.
That's a great transition. So yeah. Tom Chambers left the following season via free agency. He was the first unrestricted free agent in NBA history. Ends up in Phoenix. Talk about big 3. I don't know if we can count Kyrie at this point, but for argument's sake, Kyrie, KD, Harden, you guys were really kind of the first big 3, the 2 of you and Tom Chambers.
I'm going to say the second.
Who's the first?
First will be Dan Issel, Alex English, and Kiki
Ooh,
Vanderway.
Okay. You're South Carolina guys. So you're going back to South Carolina.
Yeah. But I say we're the first to score 23 or more points. Nobody did it. But I would say Kiki Vanderway and throw him in there. Guy just give me fits.
We're talking Sonics here, so you guys got to be the first.
Yeah.
But I might have to give you that.
Yeah.
So you guys had one hell of a nucleus. All 3 of you were young. Tom goes to Phoenix, and it's almost like one step back. How did it feel for each of you once Tom left, and there wasn't any compensation on the other end?
Well, you feel like you got to step your game up. in a way. But like what X was mentioning, Derek McKee, if Derek was going to come into his own, come out of Alabama, he knew it was going to take a little time. That's how Bernie coaches his players. But Derek was great. He could have played point forward easily for us. Held the ball well, could go left or right, could jump, and played good defense. So yeah, we were just hoping that McKee could fill that slot.
Yeah, we needed him to fill that slot.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you don't let a Tom Chambers go for free. And that's basically what we did. But, Derek came in and he did a lot of good things for us. But also, I think me and Dale, I think we needed to elevate our game a little bit more too. And sometimes I used to wait on, guys to get going because I didn't always need plays. I go to offensive board and I get out on the break, and Nate knew if I was out on the break to throw it up, I'll go get it. Mm-hmm. So we just had to, and I know Bernie used to always say, young fella, calm down. Because I used to say some choice words like F the Lakers and F these guys and F these guys. I'm tired of sitting back. I want to be, because high school I won, college I won, came to the NBA, and that was my ultimate goal to come to Seattle. Mm-hmm. And knowing that this team 6 years prior, I watched them in the finals, didn't know where the hell Seattle was at. I'm saying, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Washington, they're the same city. I don't know. I've never been this far out west. Well, yeah, I did go to Oregon one time, but I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. But I was 16 at the time, so I didn't know where Washington was really at. But like I said, I just wanted to make sure Coach Wilkins, when he brought me in, that I could get this team going, and I can get us going and get us in the right way. We traded Dale for Al Wood for Dale Ellis, and I thought that was one of the big things. Now we got the shooter. Tom was that. Tom is the prototype forward of today. He was 30 years ahead of his time. Mm-hmm. Shooting threes, it just drive us crazy. We throw the ball to Tom, Tom flipped that mug and shoot it. We're like, okay, yeah. But, we had a fantastic team, but we were all young too. You got to realize that we were all young, and I think sometimes that's why I felt like we should have brought Maurice Lucas back, because Luke will keep you in check. Yeah. And so we didn't bring him back. Now you're telling me you want me to step up, but I wasn't ready to be that type of leader. I'm gonna come, I'm gonna play, but I ain't one to be like, God damn it, Dale, God damn it, Nate, blase. I just want to go out, play basketball. We needed that veteran presence, somebody who kick your tail when you need that respect and you need to be brought back down. We didn't have that guy, and I thought we needed Maurice but we won 44 games?
I think 47 the following year, something like
44
that. Yeah.
games. So, we did raise it a little bit, something like that.
You guys were definitely in the mix, and you both came to Seattle a year apart. X, you were 85, Dale, you were 86. Your best years statistically, without question, were in Seattle.
Right.
What was it about the team, the atmosphere, the city, Bernie being your coach, that unlocked that potential in each of you?
Well, I was always a team player. I was asked to play as a big man. I was drafted as a small forward. I went to Dallas, and I was in between with Mark Aguirre and Orlando Blackman. So I come to Seattle, and Bernie's, I'm going to try him at the two position. I'll let Xavier bring the ball down the floor. So I've always played with my back to the basket. Never worked on the ball handling skills really, but worked on shooting. But just him opening the door, giving us that opportunity, and again, there was no expectations because we were young. We had to learn how to play together as a team. I remember in L.A., our first game in L.A., Bernie made a coaching decision. He put myself and Xavier in the starting lineup. I was thrilled to death. I don't know, I believe Nate was a little nervous. He had to go against Magic. But, so don't worry about it. Just throw me the ball. I got you. But yeah, it was just fun playing with each other. If we were on the road somewhere, it could be 10 of us at a theater somewhere watching a movie. So we real close-knit team, and that's important when it comes to winning basketball games.
You're both in town for Lenny Wilkins' street dedication for him. Lenny drafted you.
Yes.
Lenny was the general manager at the time
Right.
and drafted you. You've known Lenny for 35 plus years. It's hard to even imagine half of the memories from the Sonics franchise without Lenny. What has he meant to you guys from a career standpoint, even a personal standpoint?
Well, Lenny was general manager that brought you in, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and I believe he started the process for me to come in as well.
Okay, so it's not all Whitsitt?
No, I don't believe so. Then I think he left in '87, right?
Something like that.
Well, but anyway, I'd come back to Seattle every year just to, playing his golf tournament, support his foundation. It was a good excuse to come see Seattle again too. I loved it here. Although I was playing for other teams, I kept my home here for 20 years. So I spent the summers here. The most beautiful place to be, Seattle, during the summers. But Lenny has always been a class act, and any opportunity to do some work with him, I jumped at that. And, so it was just fun being able to support him.
And just like Dale said, even though I played for some other places, I kept a home here too. I had a home here for 27 years. His ex-wife sold my house here. So I mean, when he brought me in and we sat down and talked, he told me what my expectation was. We need to make the Sonics relevant again. And so, I used to live right down the street from him also. When I first got here, I was at 61, I think it was 6101 Apartments. It's right off 139th. And he was staying off there, and I was staying in a gated community. And we would just talk all the time about how we want to get the Sonics back going. And we had a little contract issue my first year because I was staying at the Red Lion for like 3 months. I just got married, and I'm just sitting in the hotel, and I'm just working out over at the Pro Club every day, and I'm playing against, Al Wood and Jerry Henderson, a lot of those guys who were here, Brick Mikowski, and I'm getting frustrated because, they told me they're going to get this contract out. They want me in town. I've been here for about 3 months, and I miss my wife with all that known, and I'm like, I'm going back to Kansas, man. And I made one phone call and said, I need to come home, man. They got me a ticket. I went home. 2 weeks later, we signed the contract. I come back, and it was all about work since then, to make the Sonics relevant. And like I said, I have nothing against OKC, but I root for the Sonics. That's who I root for, People can do what they want, but that's who I root for. It would be very difficult for me to go against the Sonics, because that would be like going against the Sonics for me. I tell people I bleed green. And if the Hall of Fame ever called me, I'm going in as a Sonic. I would tell you that right now. Mm-hmm. I tell people all the time, one of my first introductions to Seattle also was Gus Williams, right there on Queen Anne. Here, when the office was there. So, I bleed green, and I know Dale bleed green. Mm-hmm. So, nothing with OKC. It just hurts that the team was gone, and hopefully, like I said, 3 to 4 years, I think get that arena. I know the team's coming back.
Yep, and you're absolutely right. Nothing against OKC.
Yeah.
You guys probably know this. You're in NBA 2K on the all-time Thunder team.
Right.
If anybody has any sense, they got to change the jersey because they got to be wearing the green and gold. What's it like? I know you both have young kids. I'm sure you've seen the latest incarnation of the game, and to see the video game version of yourself, and it looks just like you, and they play like you. What's that experience like?
I have not watched the 2K game.
No? You're missing out. It's a good time.
Now you said Tecmo Bowl. You said Tecmo Bowl back in the day. I haven't played a video game.
Double dribble?
My son Xavier, who lives out here now with his mom, he played video games so much that I got rid of my PlayStation. I have not played in about 15 years. He plays so much. So I haven't even watched it unless somebody shows it to me. I have no clue.
How much do you guys get from 2K?
Not
How
nearly,
big are those 2K checks?
Not enough, man.
not nearly enough.
I don't even know how they do it, to be honest. They just send you a check out twice a year.
What's not enough? Is that like $5,000, $10,000?
It's a little bit more.
100 grand?
No.
Nothing to write home about.
Okay.
100 grand, I may be in Vegas
Lunch
again.
money. Yeah.
That's where I may be if it's 100 grand. I just lost some money in Vegas.
One of the most fun players to play with in 2K is, of course, Sean Kemp. You guys got Sean in the '89 draft and came out of Trinity Valley Junior College. Not a ton was known about him. What are your memories when he first showed up?
I remember him being real quiet. Yeah, he worked hard. He had to go against Xavier every day in practice, so he had to be mentally tough. You could see he was starting to develop, coming to his own. But it's kind of hard to judge talent like that at that age. I do remember him taking beer out of the locker room because he was underage.
Well, for me, I see the guy who was athletic. And one time I said, boy, where your mama at? Boy, I need to see, because you ain't no 18 years old, 19 years old. That's just how athletic he was. And Sean was a good kid. He'll be in practice, man, and he'll be doing some incredible damn dunks. And I'll be like, oh, man. And then I don't know if you remember when he dunked against Golden State. I still don't know how he did that. He went baseline, and he came in, and he just kind of hook dunked, and I was like, God damn, did y'all see that? And so you've seen the athletic ability and the raw ability that he had, and it just took some time for him. And unfortunate situation with me and Dale, that kind of elevated a little quicker. So
We're going to get to that situation
So
in a second. Did you know that Sean credits you for mentoring him that first year? Speaks the world of you.
I used to stay on Sean a lot because I know he was sneaky, like most kids, because I was sneaky too. But we used to try. He used to want to go to the clubs, and I used to get him in the club, but I would make sure he didn't drink, and I would make sure he stayed with me a lot of the times too. I think about it, you're 19 years old, you're at home all the time, and you can't go anywhere. You just get frustrated. So yeah, I would take him, but I would make sure he did not have one drink, because everywhere I went, I'm like, come on, but Sean, he used to listen. Gary used to say some things too, and I don't know about that Mr. Payton guy. I have to talk to that guy again, because me and him had a long talk before. But Gary, and I knew the future would be bright. I thought that we were. Well, I don't know. I can't say for Dale, but for me, I remember I thought I was traded to Cleveland with Lenny Wilkins, and Bob Whitsitt told me it wasn't true. But I seen a video with Hot Rod Williams in town, and then I go meet with Bob Whitsitt, and he tell me that ain't true, and I just looked at him in his face and say, that's not true. And he said, well, you're not going to be traded, and I was gone. So you don't always believe what management say. And so now people get mad at athletes when they leave, but what about the times when the teams, because I felt like even when I was watching the Sonics in '96, I was still sitting there like, damn, I could help them. I know I could help them.
I read an article, it was from summer '95, and they were talking about bringing you back then.
I never wanted to get into that, but I sit in me and Coach Carr talked at the pro club, and he told me he was going to bring me back, and it never did, never materialized. I don't know why. It never materialized that year, and I wound up going to New Jersey, playing my last 2 years there.
So let's talk about the infamous fight. The air has obviously been cleared between the two of you.
Well, it's being clear.
Yeah.
That's the thing people don't understand. Brothers fight all the time. If my brother was here right now, I'd kicked his ass many times. But, that's just something that happened, and unfortunately, it did happen. We moved past that. I remember we were in Denver. I was still kind of mad. And they said, "Oh shit, X, let that shit go." And we shot pool and drunk beer at Sonics. I was with Phoenix, and
So this is post fight.
yeah, this is after. It was just like less than a month, maybe about a month after everything happened. I think a lot of people in the media made more of it than what it was. You know, you fight with your brother all the time. You know, you fight with your sister, your uncle. Well, I probably wouldn't fight with none of my uncle. They'd probably kill me, but.
Yeah, one of the beautiful things about playing NBA basketball is you have a short window to get past things.
Yeah.
You got work to do. And we're professionals. You got to come with it every single night, so you can't linger on anything.
And you know, like I said, I remember the night I got traded. I mean, it was like the fans here were like real crazy, but people don't realize I was supposed to be traded long before that. There was a situation where David Falk called me and told me I was going to the New York Knicks. That was during the time, if some older people in here, we were playing the Bulls in Tampa, played them in the Kingdom, played them in Vancouver. I wasn't even supposed to play in the game in Vancouver because I got a call on my cell phone that I'm possibly going to New York and I won't play. It didn't materialize. So even regardless of what me and Dale got into, I was going to get traded anyhow, you know. And so, and I kind of seen the writing on the wall because when Tom left, Derek McKee moved in his spot. Once they found out Derek couldn't play the power forward every night, who was the next man? That was me. Now this was where Sean Kemp was coming in, where I felt like they probably should have brought Sean Kemp in the starting lineup and moved Derek back to the bench, you know, because no one's going to outplay me. I already know that. The only way you're going to outplay me is put me on the bench. So I kind of seen the writing on the wall. I knew going into that year with Hot Rod Williams, I knew that was a possibility of me getting traded.
It feels like there were a lot of different things kind of bubbling up at the time of the fight. You're going to hate me for asking you this. What the hell were you thinking getting in a fight with this guy?
I played power forward, a little center in high school.
Has anybody ever beat you in a fight?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who beat you in a fight?
I done got in a lot of fights. We don't want to talk about all the fights post NBA time and post college time, because I wasn't always a nice student. I used to get in fights in high school, and some of my friends would get in fights, and our high school coach used to be like, pull me, and the word done got around, so they'll pull me out of class because it's somebody in my neighborhood is going to fight, and so they like I said, pull me out of class, and I would go to the coach's office, and he would take me home, so I wouldn't get in a fight. High school, probably about 5 or 6 fights I got into, maybe. I was not always a good student. You know, I like to eat food. I would take the girls' food, take the boys' food. You know, used to do a bunch of dumb kid shit back then. So, but you know, those days we summer league fight. We just, I mean, that's just the way it was sometimes. You know, I grew up in a tough neighborhood, and you know, sometimes we would do some things we shouldn't have to do. It's not like the first time the police came to the house. That's all I can say.
And so, within a few weeks after the actual fight, you guys had made up, more or less?
Well,
I got traded.
Yes.
Dale
you got traded.
suspended.
yeah.
Dale was suspended.
Right.
So you never played on a court together after that.
Yeah.
That was it. You guys never played a game together.
I
After.
played
No,
together.
we were done.
And so
So,
we were, like I said, we were in Denver, and I was still pissed. And I remember Nate, well, man, let that shit go, man. You just, motherfucker, we ain't on the court now. So Derek, everybody just laughed. Everybody tripping. We shot pool and drunk beer the rest of the night.
Dale, when you got traded, you end up in Milwaukee, traded for Ricky Pierce. It kind of felt like the team abandoned you on some level. Going back and reading some of the articles about it, like, you know, Dale's on his own. He could do whatever he wants, and that was it. You know, today with all the mental health resources, it seems like that wouldn't have been a situation that you would be put in today. What did it feel like on your end when you got that call? Hey, you're going to Milwaukee.
You know, the whole ordeal was kind of difficult. You know, but it motivated me at the same time. You know, I knew what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I wanted to play NBA basketball, so I wasn't going to let anything stop me. So when it was tough times, I used that as energy to push me forward. You know, because I always wanted to prove someone different. I can do this. So it wasn't fair at times. You know, I wasn't playing my last year here in Seattle. I had foot was numb.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing getting acupuncture done. Didn't realize it was my back. They traded to Milwaukee, and my back went out 10 games before the season was out. And I believe some of my teammates felt like I wasn't playing because I was more interested in getting another paycheck, which I was. You know, this is a short window. You're not going to play basketball all your life, so you want to maximize your opportunities. But I had the surgery done, came back and played another 9 years. But yeah, it was difficult, but it was a challenge, and I loved the challenge.
X, you didn't get the second act with the Sonics, but Dale, you came back in 97, 98. Can make the argument that was the last great Sonics team. Won 61 games that year. That was the first Vin Baker year. It was George's last year as coach. What are your memories of being on that team in a completely different role than your first stint with the Sonics?
I was a free agent. Lenny called me. He was coaching in Atlanta, and I'm from just north of Atlanta. Asked me to come there, and I said, okay, I'm coming. I got a call from Georgia the very next day, and I had to make a decision. The Sonics went to the finals and lost to Chicago the year before. My thought was that they have an extra chance of getting back there again. I love to be a part of that team. I was like X on the outside looking in, thinking, what can help this team? I like where they're going. What can help this team, you know? So I looked at it that way. And my daughter was getting ready to go off to college. Mm-hmm. She was a tennis player. So I wanted to work with her last year with the mental approach to the game. I decided to come back to Seattle. But I didn't know that Sean wasn't going to be a part of the team at the time. Sean didn't come back that following season, so I was a little disappointed. Ben was nice to play with, but I was looking forward to playing with Sean and Gary.
So you didn't spend a lot of time with Gary his rookie year. Both of you, to have him as a rookie, this mouthy guy that doesn't shut up, could you have envisioned in your wildest dreams that this guy would be named one of the 75 best players in NBA history?
Well, he definitely played with a lot of confidence, you know. He did talk a lot, which was fun to know that your teammate's not going to back down on the court. He's got your back. That was good. Xavier's personality is pretty much the same, but he doesn't voice that like Gary did. But they play hard. You know what you're going to get every single night. That's important in winning basketball games. So, yeah, Gary couldn't shoot the ball that well when he came into the league, developed into a nice three-point shooter. He did a nice job distributing the basketball. When I did come back to Seattle, I had the coaches throwing me passes. Said, throw it up here, throw it down here, throw it above my head, because I know Gary will just sling the ball. So, and Nate was good at just putting the ball into your rhythm. So I tried to get prepared for that, because I know Gary might not hit me right where I want the ball. But it was fun to play with.
I think it's his passion that I seen early on. Mm-hmm. You know, when we were playing, talk a lot of trash, which was fine. But I think you look at him in practice and you look at him in the game, you can see why he was number 2 pick. And incredible hands, incredible hand-eye coordination, know how to play the passing lanes. And I'm not surprised he was on that 75th anniversary team. I mean, he deserves it. I think Gary's done a great job. Mm-hmm. coming in as the number 2 pick. You got me and Dale Ellis. You got Sean Kemp, and he still found a way to make his mark. And it wasn't even given to him now. He earned it. I mean, he busts his ass every day in training camp. So I tell people, some people get that position, and I'm one, I remember the time I came off the bench. Everybody used to say I didn't like coming off the bench. And not one day did I ever say it. There's not one quote that I said I would never come off the bench. But as you get older, you learn that management microfeed the media certain things. Never said it. So when I was coming off the bench, like I tell people all the time, I ain't had no problem with it. It's just the fact that, as long as we winning, that's all I cared about. And that's what I seen in Gary. Gary that motherfucker loves to win. And he, when you get guys that like to get on the floor, you got something special, He's gonna dive on that floor and he gonna do this, and he gonna. It was just something about Gary, and I knew I seen it. And like I said, he actually took the spot from Nate. He wasn't given that spot. Nate had that spot, and he won that spot from Nate, and Nate went to the bench that year. But I enjoy those 15, 16 games with Gary.
When you guys were outside of your time in Seattle, call it 92, 93 range, when Gary and Sean really started to take off, there's definitely a sliding door scenario where the Sonics starting 5 is the two of you, Sean, Gary, Tom Chambers. You're watching this team. 93, they were Western Conference Finals, and they were one of the best teams for about 3 or 4 years. To watch that from afar and know that maybe you would have been the difference maker, that could have been your team. What did that feel like?
To me, I mean, I always root. When they were in the finals, I was with Phoenix or I was with New York, I was with Boston. I would root for those guys. I would be talking with Nate or Gary, before the games and stuff. So I was rooting for them. I was like, I wish Magic Johnson ass would have been gone before 92. Maybe we could have won some games. Yeah. But I mean, that was the changing of Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, a lot of older guys, and that was the new era of the glove, the Rain Man, out west, and you got some other young talent coming in a couple years later, but that was tough, man. Watching Mutombo block shots and Robert Pack, and one thing I know in the NBA, you can run that George Karl style offense because the NBA is game, day off, game, and you don't have time to prepare for that. But when you got time to prepare for that, all that trapping, you understand how to attack it. You don't give it the ball to the big guy. I know when we was here with Boston one time, and the first thing I said, Chris Ford was going, I said, hold on, Chris, can I say one thing? Let's F all this on the board. Sherman Douglas, you're gonna have a hell of a night, but you're gonna get in shape this night. You gotta get it. I want you to attack Sam Perkins, or you attack Detlef Shrimp. They are the slow moving feet people. So if you turn back, then that's where Gary comes in here. So you just keep going around, and once you break it, you kick it up. And I was telling the other guys, they get it, you fucking dunk the ball, but don't lay the damn ball up, because Sean's coming. So you got to go in with your knees up, ready to dunk the ball. And that's how we beat the Sonics. With the teams that I was with, we had a couple of days to prepare. I was showing them how to beat them, because you got Sam up there, you try to throw it, he's 6'9", with 7'4" arms, You get the ball, you go straight at Sam. He's not going to stop you. If you stop, then Gary's coming, and now they got the trap. That's how they used to get people. So every team that I played for, even Phoenix, Kevin Johnson, once you kick it up, Tom, Dan Marley, everybody got to dunk the damn ball, because I know Sean's coming, And that's how you prepare for the Sonics, because if you didn't prepare and you got a game and you got to come to Seattle, you're probably gonna lose by 20. That was the way it was. We played the same way. They just did it a little bit better than we did. Because what we would always play the trapping. We come out and we trap people, and we get you going, boom. Boy, we got these steals, and we mount our point. George Carr brought it in, and he did it a little bit better because I felt like they had better athletes. You know, Tom wasn't a real good trapper. So when you ain't got a real good trapper in there, it only takes one man to break down. So George Carr brought it, and he brought it to a new level.
You were all over Olajuwon, trapping Olajuwon in that Game 6 in '87.
Man, how did he get sending them shots off? I have no idea.
Pretty incredible, the numbers that he was able to put up. Dale, you are undoubtedly one of the best shooters in NBA history. I'm a huge shooting geek myself. Let's talk about hand position, where you're looking when you're shooting. Like, what was your routine as far as shooting goes? Like, what were some of the things that you did that allowed you to be?
Well, as a kid on the playgrounds, you know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was my favorite player. So I started throwing hook shots before I learned how to put my left hand on the ball and shoot it. When you're throwing a hook shot, you're looking at rotation, how the ball rotates. And then, I got a little older, started putting my left hand and shooting it and still trying to rotate it. But I love the game basketball. I grew up playing something like football, baseball, basketball. I love basketball. Would play, if something was bothering me in school or at home, I'd play until I couldn't play anymore. The guys didn't want to play anymore. I'd stay on the court and shoot until I was exhausted. So in shooting, what you didn't want to do is go chasing the ball. So you had to really work on the rotation. So you make it go in the hoop and make it spin right back to the area you're standing in, so you can get shots up. So, and late in my career, I would go to practice early and shoot till I make 100 threes. George was the only coach said to me, hey, can you stay after practice and do that? Set an example to some of the players. And, you know, plus you're expending a lot of energy. I want you to practice hard. So, George, I can do this before practice and after practice. I enjoy doing it, but yeah, it's just, you know, I played with some good guards too, Avery Johnson and Nate McMillan. The key for my success was just being able to center screens, you know. I wanted to catch it and shoot it first and foremost. If I saw an opening to the basket, I'd take it. But I wasn't trying to put the ball on the floor no more than 1 or 2 dribbles if I had to. And then playing with Nate and Avery and also Gary, I was able to lose guys in transition where you can walk into a 3-point shot. I used to drive the opponents' coaches crazy, and then, you know, I had guys like Xavier, you know. If Xavier sets one hard pick, now it's easy for me to get open because they're worried about getting hit again. So it was fun playing the game.
We had to play, we used to come up court and we used to do like this. This means back pick. No matter where to play, back pick. And we had Tom on one post and me and Alton on another. I would come up and set a back pick for Dale. And the defender can't see me. So when Dale take off, I'm like, take off hard. And I get this like this right here, and they just smack right into it. And guys would be like, ah! And now Dale got a choice to come on either side and shoot it. I think we used to call it, what we call it? Pow. Pow. If he said, if Nate come down and say pow, and this always mean back pick. You could say hawk, this means back pick. It's gonna be some type of hawk set with a back pick, but it was pow. And I would always set the back pick on the guard, and the guard can't see me coming up. And Dale's job is to run him off hard. And then I just try to crack his back. So.
Dale, I think your career high in three-point attempts is like 4.7. If you were playing today, you got to figure you're putting up somewhere between 8 and 12 a game. Your highest points per game was 27.5. If you're playing today, how many points a game do you think you can score?
Points a game?
Yeah. What do you think your points per game average would be playing today at your peak? Do you hit 40?
Nah.
No? You'd be putting up twice as many threes.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just doing the math. I'm like, that's pretty close to 40.
It's like a pickup game now. You know, there's no such thing as a bad shot in the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
Guys are just taking it. I miss the old school basketball. I always believe the highest percentage shot is the layup. I mean, it's got to be simple.
And I still believe that too. But let's just say if Dale had 500 layups in his games and dunks off the break, that's 1,500 more points probably for him. You know, for me, if I'm on the break, go dunk it. I think I make 1 out of 9, 1 out of 10. So for me, it would be something different. But for Dale, in today's game, you see Steph Curry. He on a fast break. He stops and put a 3-pointer. So the game is totally different. I mean, he would have easily another 1,000 3-pointers easily right now today.
It'd have been easy to get the shots off today because you got so many guys shooting them, and they're not paying attention to me. So you get some wide open looks easy.
And I think when you look at Dale Curry and you see how much running he does to get that shot, Dale would sit in the middle and come off a single double and do the same thing. I mean, he's also a lot bigger. Because I used to like, damn, man, how the fuck you get this shot off? Me, I got a double pump. And he be, I mean, you can see, you watch that game against Houston, how many shots he got off. Robert Reed was on a lot of shots. And me, I probably would have been double pumping or something to try to get the shot off. And he would just lean and just let it go. I think he would probably 14, 15 shots a game just at the 3, you know.
How are you able to get those shots off so quickly coming off those screens? What did you have to do to work up to get, it was just like automatic.
Yeah.
Run off that screen and that ball's up, that's it.
Basketball is done with spacing. If you can create the space, you can play, you know, in the post situation on the perimeter. And it's a lot easier to play the game now because you can't hand check. If a guy's facing you, you automatically have the spacing that you need to get shots off. But just being able to, just footwork, repetition. You take so many of those shots, you're already into the shot before you see the basket. You're already turned to give up the shot as you, without seeing the basket, just getting it off quick as possible.
Some people say look at the back of the rim, look in the hoop.
Yeah.
I'm such a huge dork that I watched the Steph Curry masterclass on shooting. He said he looks at the hooks. Where were you looking?
Yeah, like I got into a slump. When I get in a slump, what I normally do is drill the ball, shoot it flat, try to make it go straight in. I used to practice making it hit the back of the rim and come back to you. But when I'm not shooting the ball well, it seems to get flatter and flatter, and I have to go to the gym and work on shooting it with arc. And so George said, hey man, just aim for the back of the rim. I look at George.
I don't know what I aim for. I just shoot it.
Yeah. But George, you don't know anything about shooting basketball. I look at the entire rim, back one off. Yeah, I just try to hit the middle of the rim. I look at all of it. I don't aim for anything but the bottom of the nets.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, it worked. X, let's not say that you were the best fighter, but you were definitely an intimidator. What were some of your intimidation tactics against your opponent? Because there's such a mental game to it too.
Honestly, I really didn't have anything. When I come, I tell people all the time, this is my pregame. I used to go to, right up the street. I don't even think it's there no more. I used to go to this restaurant. I used to get, who? No, it's right on the hill coming down, and right before you come up with the elephant, it used to be off where the Seattle.
13 coins?
13 coins. I used to go to 13 coins, and I used to get the trout, and I get the noodles with it, and that's all I would have. And I come to the game. Once I pull in that parking lot, I am not Xavier McDaniel no more. I am straight the X, man. I'm just focused. I may joke a little bit, but my mind is really on the game, and I'm just thinking about what I got to do. And when I go out and play, depends on who I'm playing against. I know if I'm playing Dennis Rodman, I know some issues gonna happen, you know. But if I'm playing Rodney McCray or Alex English or Mark Aguirre or any other good small forward, Mike Mitchell, late Mike Mitchell, I'm not worrying about going into a game and thinking that I'm gonna do this or do that. I'm worrying about self right now. I'm going over my scouting report. You know, I get fussed at because I left it there, and Kloppenberg would say, I already know who I'm playing against. I know everybody, and sometimes I'll leave it in my locker, and I come in. I'm just ready. I'm the X-Man now, and my saying, Richard, shower, hot shower, and I just come. I'm ready to play. And if you hit me with an elbow, I'm gonna hit you back. Simple as that. Now things get a little heated. That's how most things get heated. Now Dennis Rodman is another clown that you got to deal with. That when you go into the game, you already know he's going to do some things to you. So, but you try to make sure you try to maintain your cool. Sometimes, you know, officials let him get away with certain things, and sometimes you got to straighten the guy out. Mm-hmm. But I never really go. Honestly, I really never go into a game thinking about fighting. You know, I just go in and just play hard.
It's definitely a different style of game. When I was watching Game 6, my wife sat down next to me, and I think it was the start of the second OT, and you just push a game in the back. No technicals. Like he kind of came after you a little bit.
Well, I think that was like. I think Maurice had some issues with it too. The NBA got a rule that when you were doing the jump ball, and I was already there, and he pushed me out the way, and I pushed him back because this is my spot. I got the spot first on jump ball. So if you're in the down by their basket, then you know the offense get the inside. Then two defensive guys got a pinch on them. So if I got a spot first, that's my spot. He can't get that spot. And Akeem actually pushed me, and I pushed him back. But things are happening in the course of the game. And Akeem can get messy too.
That was before he was a little tamer as he got older, but he was kind of a hot wire at that point in his career. Your style on the court, say it's very recognizable. I don't think there was anybody that had a shaved head before you.
No. Now look, the big brother got one like me now.
But you did. I mean, a lot of people.
See. Hey.
But you had hair. A lot of people. Michael Jordan shaved his head because he was losing his hair.
Yeah.
How come you went with the bald head?
I'm in 1982. Yeah, 82 season, 82, 83 season, my sophomore year. Me, Aubrey Sherrod, and James Gibbs were going to the barbershop, and we were getting our hair, and everybody was talking about, man, let's get a bald head. And I was first up. I got a bald head. And they were like, nah, we ain't doing it. I gets to the game, everybody's going crazy. I mean, when I say they're going crazy, and then it just stuck. It stuck. I mean, the fans, when I tell you they was going crazy, I mean, these fans in Wichita was going crazy. And I got a couple dunks, and next thing you know, they had posters with my bald head up, and it just stayed. I never let it grow too much more out since then. So, and then when I came here, I did a poster with Slick Watts, who was bald-headed in the NBA.
I guess Slick was actually the originator.
In a chair, you know, so. And then one day I was reading the Jet magazine. Michael Jordan started the bald head in the NBA. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I started to send him a little bit, but I didn't sweat it. But now I see a lot of guys that Clyde Drexler, he bald-headed, and I mean a lot of people. So I guess it's a trend that I started that Michael Jordan got credit for. So.
Bald head and double wristbands.
Yep.
Where
the wristbands because my wrist used to swell up. When I was in college, I'd be dunking, and I'd be trying to pull the rim down, and my wrist would start swelling up, so I started putting a wristband on. And it kept swelling up, so I started doing double. And that it just kind of carried over. And I did it from college all the way through, because my high school coach, we couldn't wear knee sleeves, we couldn't wear wristbands, we couldn't wear headbands. Socks had to be up high. I mean, I had one of them coaches like Coach Carter. Very, very strict, very strict. Trust me, I've been sitting on the bench a lot because of discipline. My sophomore year, I didn't even start as a sophomore. Started as a freshman. No, sophomore I started. I didn't start as a junior because I had a lot of discipline problems. And so I wound up sitting the bench my whole junior year if I want to be on the team. So
that's
story of the X-Men.
Yeah.
It's crazy days back then.
Yep, definitely. That is the definition of the X-Man, the birth of the X-Man, as they say. If we're looking back at Sonic's history, where do you guys feel that you fit in that whole realm?
Well, I think our body of work speaks for itself. Now, people would have to say where we are. I just know during that time, for 5 years and 2 months, I think I did what I was supposed to do here. Mm-hmm. I helped the team get relevant again and helped the team to the Western Conference Finals. And I tell people all the way, and all along, we made some decent money, made good money. So that would be up to fans and that would be up to media to where we are in the place of the Sonics, in the history of the Sonics. I just know what I've done for the Sonics. I feel good that I gave it my best, 110% every night.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Sonics have a rich history. They won a championship in '79. I was coming out of high school. Mm-hmm. I remember Dennis Johnson and Gus Williams and Jack Sigmund. I got a chance to compete against those guys. They were still in the league. And actually I had the opportunity to play with Jack when I got traded to Milwaukee. That was fun. I remember that step back he had, throw the ball behind you, can't block it. Jack was fun to play with. And, so I agree with X. It's in the hands of the fans to decide where we fit into the whole scheme of things.
You probably get asked about the Wes Matthews incident all the time.
Right.
But you were playing that game. Mm-hmm. The video footage is very grainy and it's quick and you can't really see it. So everybody's memory of this is the picture of you strangling him and his eyes are coming out of his head. What were you thinking when you're on the court and you're seeing this?
So typical X. I'm excited about today. Like I was telling X today, I have that picture on my phone. Played with a lot of intensity. He played hard every single night, So it's nice to be on the court with players is going to give you the 110% every single night and do whatever it takes to win. And we're not trying to hurt anybody, but we play physical basketball. I miss that physical basketball, watching that, the banging inside with the big men. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun to watch. Yeah. You had to be skillful down there, so you can hurt yourself easily. Mm-hmm. You go into a basket full speed and you have an awkward center there. And, we're playing physical. It could hurt you by mistake. But, guys like Curry come down the lane and make a layup. It's okay, fine. It comes down again and makes a layup. Okay, timeout. If he comes down there again, if he's not on his back, you're not playing. Yeah. He's not saying hurt him. He's saying make him think twice about coming down.
Give him a hard whack.
Yeah, that's how we play, Bell.
Mm-hmm. And older Paulinus was good for that too. OP was good for that too. But Maurice Lucas, man, I tell you, that's why I wish we would have kept him a couple more years, kept guys straight. But I tell people all the time, you really can't see it. But when I was talking to Ron Thorne, I never got fined for that. But you can't see it. But you'll see.
Did you get a tee for that?
Huh?
Did you get teed up for that?
Yeah, I got a tee. But
did you get tossed?
But if you really watch it, no, I didn't get tossed. But if you really watch it, you'll see he really actually tried to kick me in the face. Mm-hmm. You got to try to slow it up, and a lot of people don't realize that he tried to kick me. So Ron, when we were looking, he was like, "Yeah, I did see it. So I'm gonna let the fine go." And but they didn't take the tee back. And he told me and Ron always had an agreement, no more fights. no more fights. And that's always, I was like, hey, I'll try, but I can't help it if a guy comes at me now. And so, but if you really look, you'll see his feet coming up and you'll see my head coming back and then I'm going forward. It happens so quick, you know. And but like I said, I was saying earlier when we were just around talking, I tried to apologize to the guy. Seen him in Atlanta at a club, and me and my friend Cheese Johnson, Wichita State alumni brother, played with Golden State a few years. And I was like, man, that's where, so I'm gonna go over there and apologize. And I was trying to talk to him. He walked off, went and got security, and security told me just leave him alone. I said, man, you can tell I just tried to apologize, but I guess if he gonna act like a little bee, then F it then. You know,
You're being a nice guy. You're being the bigger man.
Trying to be the bigger man. Honest, I really was trying to be the bigger man until he was just like, get away from me, get away from me, get away from me. But
So we're gonna try something real quick as we wrap up here. We're calling it Caption Contest. So we've got a handful of classic basketball cards from guys that you played with when you were with the Sonics. So we're gonna show you these cards, and you guys can come up with a caption. We're going to start out with a 1990 Skybox, Nate McMillan, dunking.
oh, I threw that to him.
Really?
Yes. I don't know, but I probably did throw it because we had a set. We had a set called One Up. You remember that, Dale? Mm-hmm. Nate would throw it to me, and he'll come off Alton, and I would throw it up to him. I don't know if that's it or not, but it sounds good though. Yeah. But we did have a play called One Up, and Nate, I would throw him the alley-oop off of One Up back then.
What's the caption you're giving for this card?
One up.
One Up.
One Up.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Here we go. We've got your guy, Alton Lister.
Oh, big garbage.
Big garbage?
Big garbage.
Where'd that come from?
I believe Xavier gave him that name. I'm not sure where it came from.
I'm not sure how it came up, but you know, Alton a little goofy, and we just somehow we just start calling him Big Garbage. Give him the ball, Big Garbage.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Here we go. Look at this good-looking guy. 1990 Hoops, Dale Ellis All-Star card.
A little sleepy right
Well,
there.
before he was an assassin, we used to call him 3D before he got the assassin name.
You won the three-point contest that year, and just casually, what'd you put up, 27 in the All-Star game?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is sleepy?
Sleepy. Yeah, I look tired right there.
Were you tired?
No. Mm-mm. When you're playing games like that, you don't get tired. You know, you want that game to go on and on. We played in a 5-time overtime game in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The worst thing about that was that we had to play Chicago. We had to go play Chicago at Chase Michael, but that was a fun game to play.
So we've got this is your 86 Fleer rookie card. What's our caption?
You know, close my mouth or something. I don't know. Got my mouth all wide open. Like this. I want that ball.
You're playing the Clippers, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
those are some pretty bad teams. You're probably getting the ball in that situation. So Dale 3, 89 Hoops. This was your point guard
Ernest
before
T.
here.
Bass. That's what we used to call him. That's Ernest T. Bass right there.
T-Bass?
Ernest T. Bass off Andy Griffin. Remember he had the little hat?
Yeah.
I started calling him Ernest T. Bass.
Here's a good one. 85-star Frank Rakowski. You got to play with Brick, not as a Sonic, but as
Milwaukee.
a Buck.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
And you had a short stint
Yeah, I had 1 year
with Brick.
Mm-hmm.
Your first year in Seattle.
Well, he represented physicality, I guess.
Yeah.
He
I'm
didn't
trying to
mind-
figure out
he
what
didn't
he's
mind
screaming
contact.
at or what he's yelling at right now.
When I look at this, to me, he looks like Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? He's like an overgrown version of Cameron. That's a good-looking card right there. 91 Flair, Michael Cage.
Cookie Head Jenkins. That's what I used to call it because he had the curls.
Yes.
And you remember the movie? Oh, my curls, my curls. Cookie Head Jenkins.
Could you touch the curls?
Huh?
Could you touch the curls? Would
I
he let you
never
touch
touched
them?
my curls. Never touched them.
Who had a better perm, Michael Cage or Jack Sigma?
Michael Cage.
Michael Cage?
Cage.
Jack had a pretty good perm.
Jack had a little slick. And I don't, definitely Michael Cage.
That is our caption contest, and we're going to wrap things up here. Where can we find you guys? Social media? How do we keep in touch with you? It's unbelievable to have you guys here, but how do we keep the conversation going? Where can people find you? I'm
on Instagram. I do a little Facebook also, but I follow you guys. Mm-hmm.
And I'm on no social media site. I don't do FaceTime. I don't do nothing.
Who owns xman.com? You should own xman.com. That should be a thing.
Yeah, probably should, but you want to call me, 803-600-5980. Hell, everybody in America got that number. Had it for 25 years. You call anybody in Colombia, they know the number. So, I mean, if you want to get me, call me on my cell phone. And I'm always out. So I don't do the social media. I just never got into it. Just never got into it.
And Jamie's got to get us, where's Jamie? The lights are too bright here, but Jamie's got to find a way where we can get Dale jerseys and X jerseys.
Well, I've given him 1 year to get the jerseys of me and Dale and have it so people can get it. Or we may see another Wes Matthews coming.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, Jamie.
So, Jamie, you're on the clock.
There he is.
Well,
I know he's over there. I see him over there. Yeah.
Huge thanks to you both for making the time, for being here with everybody. It is great to see you, and it is an absolute honor to have you guys as the first two guests of Sonics Forever Live. So until next time.
Thank you.
Good job, man.